Hi students, and welcome to today's second live IELTS class right here on AEHelp.com. That's right, we are live streaming through our websites now. This is an IELTS speaking part 3 class talking about places for learning, continuing from our YouTube class that we just had for our subscribers and our members, which was a speaking part 2, a place of learning, where you heard me talk about the Salish Sea Aquarium in Sydney, Canada, here on Vancouver Island. And we also heard some of your peers talking about their universities, a castle archive as well, and Angkor Wat in Cambodia. That was fantastic. Everybody on the website, you can use this code if you're not a premium student yet, Technique9, for an extra 10% discount. Of course, you're already here with me on the website at AEHelp.com. And if you want to join that premium IELTS package, the big red buttons will get you there. So click on that above my head there. It is a one-time payment for lifetime access, so it's well worth it. Students, I see, I think it's Yin that's in here maybe, or V, it's V, Ariadna, Anahita, Fuang, nice to have you on board with me in this class as well. Let's jump into the lesson. So again, the new schedules are out. I have not put the schedules up on Instagram and our YouTube community board yet, but I will, so you will see it there later as well. If you ever have questions about these lessons or about IELTS, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. The classes are held actually Wednesdays to Sundays. I should change that. Wednesdays to Sundays. The Wednesday and the Sunday class are Zoom classes for premium students. Tomorrow we'll have this premium class or premium student class on Zoom at 15 o'clock UTC. Then Monday, Tuesday, no class, and back on Wednesday with another premium student Zoom class for reading, and then classes throughout the week. Now, let's jump into these IELTS speaking part 3 questions. Students, we want to speak and repeat, not just listen, or not only listen. Listening is good. It's the first step to speaking, but I need you to speak so that you practice your fluency, your pronunciation, and all those other lovely features of oral communication. Okay, so part 2 is finished. You're on to part 3. The part 3 is the last part. It takes about 6 minutes. It's about almost, I don't know, maybe almost half of the exam is part 3. Part 1 and 2 together are about as long as part 3 when you're answering the questions nice and fluently. And then the examiner will say, that is the end of part 2. Please put your note paper, pencil to the side, turn it over. We'll continue with part 3. Let's talk about educational establishments. Period. What are some places where people get formal education? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. I see there are several of you in the chat right now, so go ahead and answer me in the chat for now. And I am going to give you an answer here also on the screen, and very soon we will interact through the website with students verbally speaking to each other, but just to kind of get some good ideas flowing, get our thoughts moving. Let's do a couple of written responses to these questions. So what are some places where people get formal education? There are several institutions which provide structured education. These include all of the government schools, like primary, middle, and high school, as well as colleges and universities. Aside from those, private colleges and religious institutions also provide formal learning. Okay. Where people can acquire knowledge from planned curricula and expert teachers or instructors. I'm going to give a little bit more for that band 9 in the part 3, a little bit more explanation. Okay, so there you go. Colleges, not collages. Okay, so again, the question, let's repeat the question. What are some places where people get formal education? Let me hear ya. Let me hear you. I know I can. I think I can. I know I can. I think I can. Here we go. There are several institutions which provide structured education. These include all of the government's schools, like primary, middle, and high school, as well as colleges and universities. Aside from those, private colleges and religious institutions also give formal learning where people can acquire knowledge from planned curricula and expert instructors. Thu, I like it. It's simple. It's to the point. Give a little explanation, but it's accurate. Ha says people often achieve formal education at schools and universities from knowledgeable professors, textbooks. V says people can get formal education from higher education institutions such as colleges and universities. Great. Anna says the most common places where people get academic education are colleges, universities, because these places have accreditation and students trust the standards. Yes, very good. Anna, you've got some nice vocabulary there, so I'm going to grab that and share. So Anna says the most common places where people get academic education are colleges and universities because these places have accreditation. It's very good. And students trust these standards. Not just students, but society, right? And society trusts these standards. Which uni has. You don't need that because you already said that, right? So we don't need redundancy. Trust these standards. Right. Accreditation, everybody, means recognition from an authority entrusted to evaluate the efficacy of an institution. Okay, so for example, government accreditation or Ministry of Education accreditation. Okay, those would be the ways that we use that word accreditation. Nice use of the word accreditation. Anna, lovely, good share. Okay. Anahita says certain venues where individuals are capable of acquiring formal education are schools, universities, and online platforms like AEHelp. Oh, Anahita. I achieved my formal education by graduating from Afghan Turk High School in the past, and I'm studying English for this purpose with the AEHelp website. Yes, you do get formal education on AEHelp. Thank you for mentioning that, Anahita. Fuang says, certain places where people can achieve formal schooling, such as universities, colleges, and private schools. You're missing the subject, Fuang. Certain places where people can achieve formal schooling are places such as universities, colleges, private schools. Okay. Remember that verb, the be. Aside from that, libraries and Chinese language cafe shops are also ideal places to broaden the horizon and gain soft skills. Examiner hasn't asked you about that, Fuang. Wait for that one. Okay. Ariadna, there are many places, both virtual and physical, where individuals acquire informal learning without the pressure of teachers and examinations. Some that come to mind are YouTube and AEHelp.com. Anahita said we're formal. For online learning, and as I had mentioned in part 2, the town archive and libraries. Nice reflection to your part 2 answer. Deborah, people get information via social media, newspaper, magazine, as well as classrooms. V is asking, can we gain informal education from the street? Yes, in fact, it has a name, V. It's called street smarts or street knowledge. Okay. And we'll get to that, right? That's the next question. So that's this question. The examiner won't ask you both simultaneously usually. They'll ask you the first one and then the second one. So now they'll ask you, where can people gain informal education? And here you could say a lot of individuals gain street smarts and pop culture from the internet, their friends, and TV shows. I have been watching a baking contest on the tube called Is It Cake? And I have learned some good tips on how to bake fancy pastry. Of course, in an informal fashion. Okay. So, yes, V, good question. It's called street smarts, the knowledge that we pick up informally from our surrounding. Street smarts. So V was asking, can we learn informally from the streets? It's called street smarts. Just remember the SS, street smarts. Street smarts. Okay. All right. Ivan says some places to get formal education are universities like Tashkent University of Information Technology, academies such as the Ministry of Internal Affairs Academy, learning divisions of certification entities such as Cisco Academy, and many others. Okay, good. Now, Ivan, it's okay to say many others. Just remember that that has no value for your listeners. So saying etc. and so on, or many others, it's all right. It's just kind of a nuance, if you will. It has no value, right? V, you're super welcome. It was a good question. Okay, let's jump to the next topic and cover one question here. All right. Let's talk about the learning environment. So one way that you kind of get the idea that you're doing a good job, it's not always true, and this doesn't always happen, so don't be like, oh, I didn't have this happen, I got a terrible score. No, but one way that you do kind of get the feeling that you're probably doing a good job in the IELTS speaking exam is if the examiner has an opportunity to introduce a couple of subtopics for part 3. So they might be like, oh, this person's doing pretty good. Let's change it up a bit. And they'll say something like, let's talk about the learning environment. Which qualities are usually necessary for an effective learning environment? All right. And then you give an answer for that. So we'll do this one again in written form using the chat. And then after this question, we'll switch to verbal form. Using the student partner speaking. Okay, so again, everybody focus on those linking words. Focus on answering, explaining, maybe throwing in an example from your part 2 response. Even if I didn't hear your part 2 response, like Ivan, Elizabeth, I didn't hear your part 2 response, but if you had an idea of what you would have spoken about or what you plan to speak about, then just throw that in, make that connection. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure who A is, but I just mentioned you know that you're doing fairly well in part 3 if they kind of switch up the topics. So if they talk about education establishments and then suddenly they're like, okay, well, let's talk a little bit more about learning and environment. It means you're being fairly fluent. They're getting what you're talking about. Now, of course, it could be the opposite too. If you're not really answering the questions and you're getting stuck, then they'll switch it up as well. But I'm sure people probably know that that's why that's happening then. So if you're like, oh, I'm doing a pretty good job answering those questions, and you get a switch or a little bit of a different branch of the topic, then you're like, oh, okay, I'm probably doing quite well. They're looking for some more different answers to this. Okay, so again, which qualities are usually necessary for an effective learning environment? Give me a nice full sentence here. Lewis is saying, I'm also having problems connecting. We have a lot of people connecting. It seems to be pretty good for me. If you have problems connecting, just shift plus refresh. If you have any connection problems, hit shift plus refresh on the browser. There you go. Should be pretty good though. Most people seem to be doing fairly well in this class. So here we go. So the attributes that are most commonly needed for good acquisition. I'm going to be really fancy here with my paraphrasing. Acquisition of information in a student's surroundings are silence and comfort, so that the learner can pay careful attention to the subject matter at hand. These are the reasons that many schools have study halls and library space with strict rules about being quiet while providing comfortable seating. All right. So again, repeat after me. If you have questions about vocabulary, let me know. Which qualities are usually necessary for an effective learning environment? Now here, environment doesn't mean nature. It doesn't mean like trees and birds and plants. It means like surroundings, like your environment, okay? The attributes is another way to say qualities. The attributes that are most commonly needed for good acquisition of information in a student's surroundings are silence and comfort, so that the learner can pay careful attention to the subject matter at hand and easily absorb the content. These are the reasons that many schools have study halls and library space with strict rules about being quiet and providing while providing comfortable seating. Okay. All right. So that's my answer. Any answers from the students? Any answers here? And if you are having trouble with the connection for some reason, do let me know. I seem to be pretty good here on my end. But worst case scenario, I could just reboot the chat. Okay. All right. Good. V, we could add yours to mine, right? So V says, a good teacher who, use the who here, use the person adjective, adverbial clause. A good teacher who inspires students to achieve their goals, and a good teaching method makes learning easier. Absolutely, and we could add that in, right? Furthermore, a good teacher who inspires students with good methodology and curricula, right, Ivan? Anahita says, essential qualities for an effective learning environment are tranquility and adequate space for technological resources. I'm unable to study without these attributes. Good. I like it. So I like these words here. I'm just going to copy out these parts here for everybody to learn. Tranquility is a nice piece of vocabulary. Tranquil, tranquility, repeat pronunciation, tranquil. Tranquil means it's peaceful and quiet. Okay, adequate space. Adequate space, you can say that in one word. Spacious, right? Tranquil means peaceful and quiet together. Not quite, quiet, right? Good. Tranquil, tranquility. Nice vocabulary. No, it's okay, Elizabeth. I mean, it's important for us to know, right? It's totally okay. It's no interruption at all. Thu, or sorry, I should say Ha. Ha says, an effective working environment, learning, not working, learning, right? A little bit different. Ha says, an effective learning environment requires quiet and the availability of materials. So quiet and resources so that the students can concentrate on their exercise and save time. Concentrate on their exercise and use time effectively. Moreover, a serious atmosphere motivates students to thrive in a good learning environment. Okay, good. Fuang says some effective conditions are obligatory for a successful study environment. First and foremost is peacefulness, as learners can pay 100% concentration. As learners can concentrate 100% on the tutors. Aside from that, formal atmosphere can help students gain motivation by being inspired both in their classrooms and by their teachers. A says, I think cleanliness is one of the attributes that is important in any learning environment, as the learner is less likely to be subjected to disease. Yeah, I guess so. It's a little bit of an awkward answer. It wouldn't be the first one that comes to my mind, but sure. The other one that does come to my mind, though, A, is organization. So having an organized and tidy, right? So those are some other attributes that come to mind. So having a tidy and organized, they're the same words, I'm just teaching you here. So having a tidy and organized environment or learning atmosphere is quite important. For me, very much so. I cannot learn or teach you in a mess. My office is organized always. My studio. Okay, nice. Students, good job. So you're getting the right ideas. Let's get you speaking verbally to me. So let's have you think on your feet quickly. Okay, let's get some volunteers. For those of you who are here regularly, you know what to do. For those of you who are new, not to worry, I am here to guide you, okay? So first of all, you're already on the website, which is fine. You want to click on the window with your My Student account. In your My Student account, you find your student partner speaking, and you want to click on that. Okay, now, for those of you who are new, definitely check out these features like the speaking interview practice, test glider, registering for the IELTS test. If you see that button, you have a home-based IELTS test that you can do from your home in your country. And also join the premium version of the course if you haven't yet. Okay, you'll see buttons for that in the free version. Okay, all right. So once you're in the student partner speaking, say I accept and start speaking. Anahita, Ivan, and Ha, I already see you in here, which is lovely. I know that Ivan and Anahita have not had a chance to speak yet. Let's start with Ivan. I think Ivan was the first, and then Anahita, you're right after. So Ivan, are you ready? Hello to you as well. Okay. Hi, I see you're volunteering as well, which is nice. Juan says I can finally join the class. Yeah, I think, Juan, you do need a relatively good connection to make it. Well, and it also depends on where you are in the world. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Ivan.
How are you?
Good. Are you into your weekend now?
I don't have a weekend.
You're like me. Welcome to the club, Ivan. Welcome to the No Weekenders Club. Always working, right? Well, as long as you enjoy what you do, Ivan, then it's always the weekend, right?
Like a song. I, I'm always on vacation because I love my occupation. Yes.
Exactly, right? Exactly. That's the trick, right? Because otherwise it's that's the goal. My father said that to me when I was young. He said, "Son, if you want to be happy, learn to love what you do, and then love what you do, learn to make money at it. You'll be happy." And I was like, okay, I'll make sense of that one day. All right, anyway, Ivan, some good tips, of good wisdoms there. Let's jump into some questions. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's do it. So let's talk about educational establishments. What are some places where people get formal education?
Some places to get formal education are universities, use different academies of some government institutions such as Ministry of Internal Affairs Academy. A lot of studying entities of certification companies such as Cisco Network Academy and many others who have government accreditation for give certificates of education.
Where can people gain informal education?
Well, there are a lot of places. Some of them are a part of formal education institutions. For instance, universities have different clubs for extracurricular activities of students. When I was a teacher, I organized such club myself. I was studying information security, and my club was about introduction to cryptanalysis, and it was very engaging activity for students.
Have post-secondary places, such as universities, improved in the last few decades?
Well, yes and no. Yes, because there are a lot of improvements in science of studying, and universities apply different methodologies to improve overall quality of education, such as Bloom's taxonomy. Although it's not new, but it's starting to it's being applied recently in a large scale at universities. But negative part is there are a lot of students, for instance, in my country, literally hundreds of thousands of students, and teachers, the amount of teachers is not enough to cover them. And quality of education in this context is pretty low.
Okay, I'm going to stop there and give you some feedback. Just give me a second. All right. Band score wise, it's about a 7, Ivan. So it's good English. We want to make it very good and great. That's our goal here, right? Let me break it down for you a little bit. So this last answer was actually your better answer. You said, well, yes and no. Yes, because, and no, because. There's one reason why this answer was better than the previous, one very clear reason. What do you think that is? And before you answer that, Ivan, let me give you the first answer I'm looking at here. So you said some places to get formal education are universities, different academies of the government, like the Network Academy and many others, where the government gives certificates for the formal education. Why do you think I like your last answer better than this one?
Probably examples weren't very good.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not really familiar with what's in Tashkent, right, or what these formal educations are. So they're just a list of names for me, right? It's like name, 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 name. But that's okay. That's
Yep.
not, that's subjective. That's not necessarily your mistake. That's just my deal that I don't know what they are. The bigger issue that I have as your listener is that I don't understand why they're formal education. So again, the examiner and the IELTS is kind of like an alien, and they're looking for those explanations. So why do you consider these? And you said they give certificates, which is kind of on the right path.
No. I said they have accreditation, government accreditation to give certificates. So that's why.
Okay, I didn't catch that word, right? And this is a good point, and you're right. Okay, so again, that could be considered my fault or the examiner's fault that they're not catching that word. However, the irony is that it's always the speaker's fault. Even if the speaker's doing it well, it's always the speaker's fault, because the question is always, well, what can the speaker do differently to make it easier for the examiner to comprehend? And this is an interesting point to digress on. So there are thousands of IELTS examiners across the world, different ages, different cultural backgrounds, different university degrees, knowledge. For those candidates who are sitting the IELTS exam and you're looking to get a Band 8 and a Band 9, during part 1, it should not just be the examiner that's measuring you, like what you're doing, but you should also be measuring the examiner, the candidate. So kind of looking at them and thinking, okay, is this person from my generation? So if we're talking about games and I say FPS, will they understand that it's a first person shooter game? Or are they a generation
or frames per second?
Yeah, exactly. So are they a generation apart? Are they not as familiar with some of the concepts in technology like AI, etc., that I might talk about? So it's your job as the speaker to also, of course, evaluate your audience and figure out how much or what I should do. When it comes to explanations, I strongly recommend IELTS candidates to really emphasize their explanation with selective vocabulary. Like, you noticed how in that second answer you said, I would say yes and no, and then you actually reflected. You said yes because and no because. It's exceptionally clear. You're really kind of putting that explanation very clearly in front of me. When you list a bunch of places for formal education, and then you have this very quick, they have accredited certificates, unless I'm really paying attention, it's going to be much more challenging for me to catch that part. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So what I would do in the IELTS is to really just include a sentence like, these places are formal because they have and you deal with this, Ivan, so it should be in your head. They have a formal curricula, they have planned lessons, therefore the students are in a structured system and they acquire accredited certifications, like my master's degree in education design from the University of Tashkent. Now it's like, okay, boom, I got you. It's 100% clear. You see? And what I would do is I would reduce the examples. So even though you gave me like 5-6 examples, 2-3, plenty. Focus more of the answer on the explanation after. You following?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how I would improve that one, and then you'll get a better score. That was much better in your last answer where you said, well, yes and no, yes, because there are lots of improvements in science and new technology. Now, don't digress in your own thoughts. So you said, although it is not new, you should leave that part out. I have no idea. I'm not going to Google that. Just if you said that it's new, that's fine. You don't have to kind of argue with yourself about whether it's new or not and what's happening now. So just, say they're using this new technology. You mentioned the name, and that's great. And then you said the negative parts, there are hundreds of thousands of students and not enough teachers to cover them. It's okay English, but there are better ways to express that. And not enough teachers to what? It's not really to cover them. Not enough teachers to do what? Can you explain that a little bit clear with a little bit better English?
To actually establish higher quality classes.
Yeah, that's better, definitely. So to establish high quality instructions with enough time given to each pupil, right? And then I would give an example there. So if I'm your examiner, I would say something like it is common in Tashkent University to have 300, 400 students in one class.
I get better example. For language classes, there should be 12 students maximum per class, but there are sometimes 20 or 30 per class.
Yeah.
But it's actually example from reality in our context, unfortunately.
Yep. I've heard that from other people in Uzbekistan. So there should be 12 students per class maximum for effective language learning, but these days it's often more than 20 or 30. Okay, good. So now you're visualizing it, and you're using numbers, and that's really going to assist with that. So emphasize the explanations, everybody. Really emphasize the explanations. Okay, it's even though we can blame the listener for not paying enough attention or not catching the words, ultimately it's up to the speaker to make sure that the listener's getting the information. Would you agree?
Yes,
Ivan. Yeah. All right, Ivan. Really good. Finally, I got a chance to hear your answers. I appreciate you for volunteering.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for your feedback.
You're very welcome. Bye, Ivan.
Have a nice day.
You too. Bye. Have a great weekend. Bye. And I know Ivan said he doesn't really have a weekend, but I hope he still gets a bit of time to himself. Okay, we have not heard from you, and it'd be lovely to hear another female voice. So, are you ready? Hopefully we can get a hold of And I see V is in there, and Alexander is there too. That is lovely. Good to see all of you. Okay. All right, I'm going to call you I might still be able to connect here. I might have to refresh, but let me try. That ring, let me know. Pick it up. If not, I'll refresh the page and try you again. Okay, let me just do a quick shift refresh here, and then I'm going to see if I can. There you are. Okay, let's try that again.
Hello, sir.
Hi, how goes the day? Or how went the day? Yours is done, right? I lost you. The connection. Let me try one more time.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
I can. Hi again, I was just asking you, how was your Saturday? I can hear you, but I'm guessing you might not be hearing me as well as I'm hearing you.
Yeah, I can hear now.
Okay. Took a moment for all those wires to find each other. Okay, did you have a good Saturday?
I'd have to say it's great.
I thought it was going to be bad because you're like, I have to say it was great. It was just all right. Okay. What was good? What happened?
Yeah, I have I get a volleyball match at my school, and I just came here to give them moral support.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. I love volleyball. It's such a fun sport. I've hurt myself a couple of times playing volleyball, but I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
let's get into this. Are you ready for some questions?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, let's talk about educational establishments. What are the benefits of learning in foreign schools?
Then the benefits of learning in foreign school is that the student have an opportunity to communicate with foreigners and and the bilingual brains also boosts the translation between language and between
Okay,
when
so
studying
I'm going to stop
with
you
the
there. Okay, I know your English and I know you can do better. So when as students, when you find yourself in this situation of like, what am I doing? Then you just stop yourself. Okay, and you can do this in the IELTS. So you can stop yourself and just go, okay, let me stop myself. I'm a bit nervous. The question caught me off guard. Let me start that again. And if I'm your examiner, I would say, sure, no problem. And then start again and think about culture, language benefits, okay, language immersion, okay. So here, everybody, you can repeat after me. You can say, okay, let me start that again. The question caught me off guard, and I'm a bit all over the place.
okay. I'm a bit nervous, so can you give me the chance to start again?
Absolutely. Okay. So you can do it that way as well. Can you just repeat exactly what I said here just so you practice this new language? Okay. Let me start that again. The question caught me off guard and I'm a bit all over the place.
Okay, I'm a bit nervous. The question caught me off guard, and um,
A
I
bit.
don't remember.
I'm a bit all over the place.
I'm a bit all over the place.
Okay. Let's start it again. Here we go. What are the benefits of learning in foreign schools?
Learning in foreign school boosts the student confidence when talking with the foreigners, and when communicating with foreigners, there's the combination of different cultures, so that the student can uh, learn about um, the culture. I don't know that.
It's not bad. Sometimes it takes a few tries. So this is okay. So students at home, when you're doing this is what you do. You do it again and again and again until you realize, okay, that's the way I want to answer it. So when communicating with foreigners, there's a combination of learning new culture while being immersed in the language. This expands the learner's understanding of the world and creates opportunities for the future. My father has a business partner in Canada who he met in school while studying there. I just made that up, but anyway. Okay.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, so my father has a business partner in Canada who he met there while studying in high school in an exchange program. Okay, let's try that one more time. So what are the benefits of learning in foreign schools?
The benefits of learning in foreign school are the uh, communicating with foreigners, the combination of learning new culture when being immersed in the language, that expand the learner's understanding of the world, and create opportunity for the future. My father has a business partner in Canada who he met his his wife while studying in high school and in an exchange program.
Can there be any negatives?
I think there is uh, because when learning in like with foreigners, there is obstacle of the culture and the language. If the students can't understand what their mates are speaking about, they often feel depressed about themselves and therefore lead to a bad performance at the school.
Yep. Okay. Just let me give me a second. I'm just correcting your English, choosing some better words, fixing the grammar, and we're going to give the exact same answer just with those improvements.
Okay.
Okay. So here is your corrected answer, basically exactly the same as what you said, just with some improved words and grammar. I think there are, because when learning with foreigners, that can be a cultural barrier. If the students cannot understand what the locals are discussing, it can lead to low self-esteem and lead to depression, and this can cause poor academic performance. Can you try that? Can there be any
Okay.
negatives?
I think there are because when learning with foreigners, that is a cultural barrier. If the student cannot understand what the locals are discussing, it can lead to low self-esteem and lead to depression, and this can also lead to poor academic performance.
Okay. Much better. So good. Okay, so you have the right idea. Just keep going back, and this is for everybody. This is the kind of practice you want to do. So you want to keep going back, improving, improving, improving. Don't ask AI or ChatGPT to help you right away. Before you do that, it is good to do that if you don't have a teacher or a speaking partner to talk to. But before you get the help of any external aid or assistance, do it yourself first. So think, okay, there's got to be a better word for that, or there's got to be a way I can express that a little bit more concisely. And then say it, say it, say it until you're happy with it. And once you're happy with it, then go, okay, I'm happy with that answer, and then go to the next one, right? And eventually, step by step, you make those improvements, and then those words become a part of your vocabulary toolbox. Okay.
Okay,
All right. So,
and
yeah.
like I would sit the real test in on Sat and like Thursday, and I'm very nervous about speaking test.
Don't be. I think that you. So first of all, one of the most challenging aspects of the speaking for Vietnamese speakers is pronunciation. I'm sure Phuong would agree with this. Phuong would say, yeah, it's really tough. And you definitely have a natural talent for pronunciation, so I can very clearly understand your words, okay? Um, I would say that you're in the top 10 percentile for Vietnamese speakers for clarity of your pronunciation. I think you have some really good ideas. So whenever I ask you a question, the idea that comes to your mind that you use for your answers is definitely in the top three answers of choice, of most popular choices. So your answers are spot on. So don't overthink it. Okay, I think at this point, based on what you just said, your number one enemy is actually your nervousness or your stress. So don't let that be your enemy, okay? Because you have great English and I'm sure you'll do great. And keep in mind, to the examiner, you're just a number. So it's kind of like you're speaking, quote unquote, to a robot, right? You don't need to be nervous. They're not personally interested, or they're not going to hate you or love you. They're just there to do their job. You get what I'm saying? Right?
Yes,
Okay. And
but
if you feel like,
what if
mm-hmm, go ahead, Han.
And what is it? I can control myself.
I was just about to talk to that. So if you can't control yourself, that will usually happen at the beginning. So in the first few questions, and remember the part one's fairly easy, especially for somebody at your level. So that should be okay. Two important points. Remember, I keep saying these. Number one, focus on strategy, right? So instead of focusing on how nervous you are, focus on strategy. So distract your mind with strategy. So think, okay, answer, explanation, example. Did I have a clear explanation? Did I have an example here? Am I quantifying? Have I used numbers in my last one or two answers? Oh, here's a good one to use some numbers to make. So focus on your strategy. That will distract you. Okay, that will help you to focus on what you need to do. That's number one. If you really feel like you're fumbling your words and you're like, well, this, that, then just do what you just did. Stop yourself and say, okay, I'm a bit nervous. I'm going to take a deep breath. Let me start that answer again. Thank you. Okay, so my favorite pastime activity is reading books and playing volleyball. I was just at a volleyball game last night at my school. Our team won. It was so much fun. Okay, so just take a moment for yourself. Okay, don't give in to your stress. Okay.
Okay, I got it.
All right,
Thank you,
got it?
sir.
You're super welcome. You'll do fine. Okay. Thank you, Ha, for volunteering.
Thanks for giving me the chance.
For sure. Bye, Ha.
Bye, sir.
All right. And I heard Ha, I think, is feeling a little under the weather too. I heard that in her voice as well. So it was good. So Ha, that's good. Okay. You're doing fantastic. Everybody a thumbs up there in the chat for sure for Ha. I'm just gonna write it thumbs up. A is giving you a thumbs up. Okay. It was good. All right. Let's take Jishan and then Anahita. You're on my radar as well. Jishan, are you ready? A little backslash there. Jishan, if you're there, let me know, and then we'll tackle a couple of these questions here. There's some good points. Everybody gets nervous for the IELTS, and yeah, it's totally normal. Mariam Deborah Fuang, nice. Good support. Hi, Sean.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, I am fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Jishan. I can hear you quite well. Jishan, can you remind me, where are you?
Yeah, I am from Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
It's in Dhaka.
In Dhaka. Got you.
Yeah.
All right. Jishan, are you ready for a couple of questions?
Yeah, I am absolutely ready.
Okay, then let's talk about learning establishments. What are the benefits of learning in foreign schools?
As I don't have any experience of learning in foreign schools, but I have heard from one of my friends that learning in a foreign school is beneficial for learning a new language, especially.
Can there be any negatives?
Yes, sorry.
Can there be any negatives?
Yeah, I think there will be negatives, but I never heard that before about the negative side of it.
Let's talk about the learning environment. Which qualities are usually necessary for an effective learning environment?
Learning the environment, I think it's necessary for protect the environment. Firstly,
Can you give more details?
yeah, actually nowadays people are not so that much interest to learning about environment. But if they know about the environment, I think they will be more aware of harming the environment. But because nowadays people and human are harming the environment very effectively as the technical is very much developing.
Having a tidy and organized learning atmosphere is, oh, sorry. What happens when these are not available? Oh, sorry.
What are not
No, no.
available?
Let
Sorry.
me jump back. Let me jump back. That was not. That was, yeah, okay. Let me ask you another question. Here we go. What can students do to optimize their learning environment?
Yeah, first of all, the students can especially talk to their parents or talk to their house owner, their where they live actually, because actually the students cannot affect the environment. Firstly, because they are not own a house or any own a place. So first of all, their duty is to tell the parents or tell the owner of the house that I am having the problem of the issues. And I think, and they also can use some headphones or something to quiet the place to make the environment sure for studying.
Okay, that is the end of part 3, and that concludes the speaking section. All right. So as far as band scores go, I would probably give you a band 6 fluent. Maybe a 6.5, but more towards a 6. The reason why is you're speaking quickly. You have good vocabulary, I think, but I'm having trouble with coherence. So I'm having difficulty understanding exactly what you're trying to tell me. Okay. And that is definitely a very important part to pay attention to. I have to understand you clearly. Like in this first answer here, I wasn't sure whether you're like what you meant by informant. Can you explain what you mean by informant?
Yeah, I don't think I have spelled it out. Okay.
So you said the learning environment is necessary for protecting the informant. What do you mean by that?
Oh, no, I actually, you asked me that question about environment.
Mm-hmm.
So I said environment instead of informant.
Oh, so with the pronunciation. Um, all right. Now, here, when you're talking about the environment, were you talking about nature, like plants and trees, or were you talking about the actual like atmosphere? Because I was
Yeah, it's all together, trees and also the atmosphere as well.
okay, so it didn't, that's why it didn't make a lot of sense to me. So here it's the learning environment. The learning environment doesn't mean the trees. So the word environment doesn't actually mean nature. Okay, a lot of people think about nature when they hear the word environment, but the word environment doesn't actually mean nature necessarily. The word environment means your surroundings, like where you are. That is your environment. Space, outer space, is the environment of the astronaut. Okay. Um, the castle is the environment of the prince. Um, so the volcano is the environment where we find lava. So it's not necessarily nature per se. Do you understand what I mean by that? So here, learning environment doesn't
Yeah, I got
actually,
it.
yeah, so that's the confusion. And the way to avoid that is you really have to pay attention to the other topics. So if part 2 and part 3 are talking about effective learning and the learning establishment or location, then we can kind of guess that, okay, environment here must be something different. It must be not related to trees and plants and so on. It must be related more to the classroom or the university, the school. Do you get what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that's
I
where,
got it.
yeah, so that's where a lot of this confusion was happening, I think, is where you combine these, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me. So you have to really be careful with that, okay, Jishan?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
All right.
advice for me. Yeah, and I have to add something that it's my first time to speak with a master. So yeah, kind of difficulty.
Not a
That's the reason.
problem. Not a problem at all. Here's a good answer that we practiced for this one earlier. Just try repeating this one after me, okay? I'm going to say it, and then after I finish, say it with me. So, the attributes that are most commonly needed for good acquisition of information in a student's surroundings are silence and comfort, so that the learner can pay careful attention to the subject matter. These are reasons that many schools have study halls or library space with strict rules about being quiet, and they provide comfortable seating. Okay, try that. So, Jishan, go from the attributes that are most commonly needed.
Can you please send me in text because I can't find it.
Ah, you can't. Okay, I get it. You can't see the actual. Are you using a mobile phone?
No, I am on my laptop, but I
You
can't
should be
see
able
the
to
screen.
toggle. I just sent it to you in the chat.
Yeah,
You should.
please.
Yeah, you should see it now. You won't see the end of it, but you see most of it. Do you see it in the chat?
No, not here. It's didn't come.
I hear a lot of buzzing there too, Jishan. Is that somebody at your door?
No, not here. It's the quiet. It's a quiet place.
Okay, all right. So you've got a good learning environment, right?
Yeah, yeah. I just text you. I am here. Can you see that?
No, I don't see it in the chat, but that's okay, Jishan. Just try to do it from listening. Attributes that are needed for a good learning environment are silence and comfort.
It's quite attributes are needed.
For a good
That's
learning
a quite
environment
for a good learning environment
are silence and comfort.
are silence and comfort.
So the learner can pay careful attention
So the learner can pay attention
to the subject matter at hand.
to the subjects matter at hand.
This is why schools have study halls and library space.
This is why schools have study hall and library space.
With rules to be quiet, and they give comfortable seating.
With rules to be quiet and
Provide comfortable seats.
provide comfortable seats.
Okay, so that's the right idea, Jishan. So maybe I think one of my suggestions to you, Jishan, is slow down your answers a little bit when you're practicing for the IELTS. Pay more attention to the question and then really focus on coherent answers, okay?
Okay, yeah, obviously.
All right, and Jishan, I want you to come back and practice again the next time we have this class, okay?
So may I ask you when the class will be the next
The
day
next,
at the same time?
yeah, so the next class will be will be tomorrow for premium students. I see that you're not a premium student yet, so we have premium classes on Sundays and Wednesdays through Zoom. And then the next free class will be on YouTube, and that will be on Thursday at this time, okay?
Okay.
All right. I will put the schedule on the YouTube community post, and I will put it on our Instagram profile as well. Okay, Jishan?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye, Jishan.
Yeah.
All right. That was Jishan. Give him a thumbs up. Abdullah says, just calm down, speak slowly. That's right, Abdullah. That's good advice. Yes, control your thoughts. Absolutely. Abdullah, yes, you can. Are you ready? It was good advice. Let's put that advice to use. If you're there, Abdullah, let me know. Hopefully we get a message back from Abdullah. Miguel, I see you're in here too. That's great. You're continuing your practice. It's fantastic. Okay. And V says, thumbs up. Ariadna says, Jishan, double thumbs up. Deborah says, that was good. Let's give him a clap. Yeah, he was working hard. It was tricky. Hello, Abdullah. I do not hear you, so I'm not sure if we've made the connection. If you hear me, you can let me know in the chat. If you hear me and I don't hear you, it means that your microphone is not synced with the website or with some part of the system. Let me try you one more time, Abdullah. Sometimes it just takes a couple tries. That was interesting. Okay, let me refresh my page here. Okay, let me try this one more time. So I'm just going to do a shift refresh. I'll refresh my page and then maybe it'll be a little bit better. I don't see Abdullah, so maybe there was some connection issue there, Abdullah. I don't know. And Anahita, it looks like you're losing your connection as well. But I'll be a little bit patient, so I'll practice what I preach. I'm also... especially with computer systems, it's important to be patient a little bit, right? There's a lot going on. Ritik. Yeah, Ritik, that's a pretty good answer, I would say. Okay. Anahita, you haven't had a chance yet. Hi, Anahita.
How are you, sir? You surprised me because you didn't send me a message.
Surprise! Yeah, I realized that after I clicked the call button, but I was like, Anahita's ready. You're ready. I know you're ready. You're at what is it? 11:36, almost noon.
Yes.
Your time. So you have to be ready. You're at the top part of the day. This is when you're at your most energetic, or usually people are anyway, right?
Yes, I am fully energized.
You're fully energized. That's great. That's good to hear. Okay, Anahita, you ready for a couple questions?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about the learning environment. What can students do to optimize their learning environment?
Well, what students can do to optimize their learning environment is that they can talk to their instructors to provide such an environment for them. Moreover, they should participate in the creating effective learning environment themselves. For example, they should always be organized and tidy. I always talk to my teachers, and I am always well organized student. Therefore, I always have. Therefore, I can optimize my learning environment, I think.
Let's talk about learning establishments. Where can people gain informal education?
The venues where people can informal education or online platforms like Facebook and Instagram, seminar halls from a teacher, from an informal teacher, and from street smarts by going to a coffee shop. By going to a coffee shop, I learned the cuisine to bake different cakes by Instagram.
Okay, good. Anita, good. You're doing a really good job of using the questions to control your answers. Almost too much. So you're kind of repeating the question a little bit too much. You want to paraphrase it, right? And once you've used it once, then that's it. Don't repeat it again and again, right? Some instructors or examiners will interrupt you when they find that you're repeating those. You also made me smile because you said when used where people get informal education or places like Facebook and Instagram, and immediately I thought about the reels, the 1-minute videos, and I'm like, it's like, oh yeah, you can learn about how what happens to a cat when it tries to play volleyball from the 1-minute video on Instagram. But anyway, it's good. Okay, good empathy in that part there. I would say that your score is somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7, so it's that good English. If you give me more details and unique information, I can definitely give you a better band score, like 7.5, so good to very good. Okay. What can students do to optimize their learning environment? You said, well, what students can do to optimize their learning environment. I liked that beginning. It was very natural. I could tell that you were setting up your ideas, you're setting up your thoughts, your English. Perfect. That was a great start. And then you said is talk to their instructors to provide such an environment. It's a little bit of an awkward answer because it's kind of like, well, what can the student do? And okay, yes, I get what you're saying. They can talk to their teacher, but then it's their teacher that's doing it. It's not the student that's really doing it after that point. So the logic starts to falter or fail, right? So it's not good to shift the subject of the question. So when you get these questions in the IELTS, you want to really just hold the subject. So here the subject is the student. Don't shift it to the teacher. Okay. People do this with the government all the time. So the question is about what can a person do, and then they say, well, the person can talk to the government, and it's like, no, the person, not the government, right? So that's a different question. So don't shift the subject, right? Keep the subject. So what can the student do? And then I think you kind of realize that, and you're like, well, the student should participate too in being organized and tidy. That's what you should have led with. So you should have started with, well, students, what can they do to optimize their learning environment? They need to be organized and they need to be tidy.
So
Why?
I should have omitted the first part.
Yeah,
and it would be a better answer.
Yeah, exactly. So let me show you, and you can finish this for me. So, well, what students can do to optimize their learning environment is they should always be organized and tidy. So I would literally just take those pieces and put that into one, and then answer why that optimizes their learning environment. So why is being tidy and organized an optimization? Why is that better for learning, Anahita?
Because hygiene environment leads to faster. No.
Okay, you're starting to get the idea, because this leads to faster what?
Faster learning.
Yeah. Okay, faster learning, faster and more effective learning, right?
Yes.
All right, not a problem. Think about yourself, visualize. So you're studying English, right?
Yes.
And some people, they write down new words on little pieces of paper, tissue paper, bubblegum wrapper, and then they have new words and vocabulary all over their room, in the garbage can, in their pockets, all crumpled up, right? And at the same time, those students or other students, they will write down, what do you do? So when you learn English, Anahita, what are you doing with those vocabulary and the grammar?
I have them in my mobile, and I always, to be honest, I always study them in my mobile or computer. And I always make sentences and this kind of activities. I never make my home untidy or unorganized.
Okay. Good. So here's the answer, right? What students can do to optimize their learning environment is they should always be organized and tidy. because this leads to faster and more effective learning. I have English vocabulary and grammar organized in files on my mobile and computer, and this helps me reference them quickly so I can improve my language skills each day. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right, try that. So what can students do to optimize their learning environment?
Well, what students can do to optimize their learning environment is that they should always be well organized and tidy because this leads to a faster and more effective learning. I have English vocabulary and grammar organized into files on mobile and computer, and this helps me reference them quickly so that I can improve my language skills each day.
That's a band 8 to 9. Okay. You see, you tackled the question, you kept the subject, you gave me a couple of very good points. You naturally just switched to a very visible real world example that's very much empathetic to the situation of IELTS and English. And I can say, lovely. That's at least very good English, if not expert. Do you get what I'm
Sir,
saying? Yeah.
yes, I'm sometimes afraid of the circular reasoning. For example, for this example, the answer is they should always be well organized and tidy because this leads to faster and more effective learning. I think this is somehow like circular reasoning.
A little bit. It's not. It's not really, because optimized learning environment and faster and effective is more of a definition of optimization than circular reasoning. Where it started to really be circular is where I said language skills quickly. That's why I switched it to each day. If I'm using the synonyms for the same words like faster, quicker, swiftly, then I'm starting to realize, okay, I'm just repeating myself and it's circular reasoning. So you do have to be careful about that, but this isn't quite there just yet. This is just more detail at this point here. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you post this video later so we can watch it?
Absolutely. And if I ever forget to post a video, everybody, this isn't just for Anahita, it's for everyone, then let me know. I always post these videos in an unlisted playlist. I would love to make them public, but the problem, Anahita, is if I make them public, these videos, not a lot of people watch them, and then it damages the viewership of the entire channel. So it's the YouTube algorithm that's a real pain. But so they're unlisted, but if somebody wants to watch these, all you have to do is send me an email and I can give you access to the playlist, and I will add this to the playlist for these live classes, and then you can watch it there. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Anahita. Those were some good questions.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You too. Bye, Anahita.
Bye, sir.
All right, that was Anahita, and again, some good learning points there. Students, that's all the time for today, but keep practicing with each other, okay? The website is AEHelp.com. That's what we used. Again, use the full or the free version up to your budget and your interest. Definitely worth using the full version if you've got a few bucks to spare. It also helps us to improve your experience, of course. And I'm really happy with all of the volunteers today. That was really good. Keep those tips in mind for good learning environments to learn effectively, of course. So thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of the day. And I will see premium students on the website tomorrow at the same time as this class, actually starting a little bit earlier, 30 minutes earlier, for a full speaking practice session on Zoom. Okay, so the links are sent. I saw a couple people have sent me emails saying they haven't seen them yet, so I'll send them to you manually, but you should see them now in your inbox. Do a search for AE Help newsletter, and you should be able to see them there. Any questions, Adrian at AEHelp.com or admin at AEHelp.com. Some really lovely English there, everybody, today. Ariadna, fantastic English today, for sure. We had some nice responses from different volunteers. Students, enjoy the day, whatever's left of it. If it's getting late, I hope you have some good rest. And then I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Much love to all of you, wherever you are in the world today. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria, Canada. Bye for now.